皆さんこんばんは。キングダムカムデリバレンスやっていきたいと思います。さあ一応ね、夕方の5時ぐらいなんですけども、どうでしょうかね。いらっしゃいますかね、司祭さんは。ここら辺？あ、やっぱここですね、酒場。まだいなそうですね。いないか。もうちょっと待ちましょうか。あ、いないね。ちょっと座ってじゃあ本でも読んでみましょうか。所持品。まだ読み終わってないんですよね。調査。19時ならさすがにいるんじゃない？進捗60。70%いく？よし。あ、いましたね。いましたね。とりあえず座りましょうか。司祭さん。で、解決策はいかがで？
I'm sorry I can't tell you everything, but maybe we can work something out. But first I'd like to hear something about you, my son. With whom do I have the honor? Where are you from?
スカーレッツから来ました。
Oh, I'm sorry. What about your kin?
全滅です。
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Here, we'll drink to them. It must have been terrible.
それはだな。ちゃんと話した方がいいな、こういうの。
Seemed so pointless. We had no warning. They just appeared and began the slaughter. God knows why. They killed anyone who didn't make it to the shelter of the castle. My parents, my girl, even the Deutsch who was on Sigismund's side. I didn't make it to the castle. I wanted to try and help my parents, but there was nothing I could do. Then I fled to Talmberg with the Cumans on my heels. They almost killed me. They slaughtered people in the surrounding villages. There was a pile of bodies in front of the church in Rovna. Folk who tried to take refuge there, but they...
My poor child. May God grant them eternal rest. And how did you come to get this assignment? I'd have expected Sir Hanish to send that old grouch Bernard.
Oh.
He did, but I found a witness and the trail led here to Ujit, so he sent me here to follow it up.
Ah, well, congratulations. It's nice to see someone using their head to find things out instead of torture. We'll have to drink to that. Now the most important thing. What actually happened in Noyle? The good folks hereabout are saying all kinds of terrible things, but I take most of it with a pinch of salt.
しっかりとお話。今回は誇張されてないですかね。
The rumors aren't exaggerated this time, unfortunately. The Neuhof stud farm was raided by bandits, but they didn't come to pillage or even take the horses. They only wanted to kill. They maimed the horses and slaughtered some people. I'm sure they would have killed more, but the bandits quarreled among themselves and broke off the attack. And judging by what's left of our Lubosh, they're still settling accounts.
I see it's every bit as bad as people claimed. Dreadful. Well then, here's to those poor souls who had to die so pointlessly and so terribly.
I've told you all about me. Now it's your turn, Father. You don't look much like our parish priest at home.
剣の扱い慣れて
I
ますね。
noticed you're pretty handy with a sword. I wouldn't expect that of a man of
素
the
振りしてま
cloth.
したもんね。
You know what they say. The Lord moves in mysterious ways.
But this is a bit more mysterious than others.
Let's just say I haven't always been a priest. Fate led me to places
力で
where
物を解決
affairs
するような
were
場所にい
settled
た
by
こともあっ
force.
た。
These days, of course, it's just a bit of exercise to keep me in shape.
本題に入りましょう。
Well, we've had an agreeable chat, but now let's get down to business. So, about this confessional seal. Do you really want more innocent people to die?
Henry, that's not how it works. There are matters in which you can't make exceptions because if you do it once, you'll forever be tempted to do it again. If people stop believing in the church because their confessional secrets are betrayed, they won't trust anyone, and that's worse than even the most hideous crime.
それでは行き詰まってしまいます
I
よ。
understand, but that means I've reached a dead end. Those cutthroats will strike again, and I can't stop them.
Chin up, lad. I might have a solution.
What?
If I tell you what Lubos told me, I'd be betraying the confessional secret. But
君の助けになるかもしれないことをしてみようと思う。
Word of honor?
on my soul,
I always wondered about the things a priest tells his congregation. Where on earth do you get the ideas for your sermons?
well, Ujits isn't Prague. It's not enough to instruct people. They have to be entertained too. If I only read from the Bible, I'd soon be preaching to an empty church.
Our priest wasn't exactly a bard. So what do you preach to your flock about?
It has to be something topical, condemning
悪
vices,
徳を咎めるもの。
and of course describing them in detail. The tongue lashing about the two popes goes down well these days. And stories from real life, with a nice moral to them, are popular as well. Especially if they're about fornication and similar scandalous vices.
Can you give me an example?
Well, recently a priest
Jan
by the name
Hus
of
to
Jan
use some.
Hus started preaching in Prague, in the Czech language, and the people liked it. I hear he always has a full house. A journeyman who heard him told me what Hus is preaching, and I like the sound of it.
あ、旅人が流れてたと。レパートリーに加えてみようかと。おう、
What's so amazing about it?
どんな話でしょうかね
The。preaching of Master Jan Hus about Mother Church, the lamentable wealth in which
教
the
会に
church
溺れて
is
忌まわしき
drowning
富
has
は毒とな
turned
り
to、
キリ
poison.
スト教会のすべてを
And
汚
nearly
してい
the
る
whole
と。
of Christendom is contaminated. Just like a flock of hungry ravens, they settled on this land to devour every
土地に住
grain
み
of
金や
gold
銀や
and silver.
むさぼっていると。
They know no mercy. Their hearts are corrupted by longing for wealth, and they shamelessly profit from everything. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay, and you will have absolution. What if the devil himself were to pay?
悪魔
Would
自身
he
が金払
ascend
った
to
らどうな
heaven
るのか
too?。
そうで
With
す
such
ね。
money gained from the poor, they buy beautiful horses to ride and needless servants to pamper them. They gamble at dice and dress their whores in expensive furs. While Jesus Christ walked barefoot and had no place to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too. Amen.
Well, this Jan Hus character is quite a rebel.
Oh, the congregation will love it.
I don't doubt it.
Let's drink to that.
まあ、教会は腐ってるってことですね。
That last bit reminds me of someone.
What do you mean? My situation's completely different. Huth preaches against the prelates and the clerics who are robbing the poor. Look at me. I don't have a pot to piss in. I'm no better off than the folk I preach to. I'm one with them in poverty and suffering and everything that troubles them. I drink with them and curse those stuffed habits in Sasau Monastery.
はあ、フスのこ
What do
と
you
はどう
think
も
of this Jan Hus?
He's certainly a wise man.
潔癖す
A
ぎる。
little overzealous for my taste. If he got out of Prague and came here for a look, I'm sure he'd stop condemning drinking and lying with women.
Where can I find out more
彼の
about
教えに
his
ついては
teaching?
どこでよりすることがで
Do
き
you
ます
like
か
it? I copied down some of his sermons. If you're interested, you can read them at my presbytery.
おう、
What do the common folk think of it?
They like it. They're happy to hear
教会
someone
不
say
怖くて
what
思
they
ってい
think
ても口に
themselves,
出して言えない
but
こ
are
とを言っ
afraid
てく
to
れる
say
と、
aloud.
そうです
Things
ね。
that make them angry. And they're calling for change. In a few years, it'll have grown beyond control. You mark my words, the people will rise up and the church will be shaken to its very foundations.
Yeah, unless they burn him at the stake first.
Nonsense. They can't burn a master of the most respected university in Europe.
はい。
Don't you think it's a bit odd when someone boozes and lives in sin with a woman and then criticizes the Pope for debauchery?
No, I don't.
よし、十分だ。
Thanks for the sermon, but I think I've been morally uplifted enough.
Oh, it's getting quite late. What are your plans, Father?
What do you suppose? We have a drink, of course.
飲むしかないですね。いい考えだ。
Ah, that sounds like a good plan.
今日
I
の仕
knew
事
you
終わり
wouldn't
だっ
let
て。
me down.
飲酒がレベルアップした。
Przyszła bida mora lat, to nie ustoi żadnej chlap. Na kraj panuje swej smutek, godnielo i rano utek, niech już małżeński majstrat, do
だいぶ、
wczorajszego
だいぶ飲んでないかい。大丈夫かい。この感じは飲んでるね、だいぶね。
Enough of this!
おごられちゃったよ。
Bailiff, come on over here, sit down and have a drink with us.
Don't vex me again, Father. It's 3 hours past dusk, and curfew is long gone.
So what?
So, I'll have you all whipped and put in the stocks, and I'll write a letter to the bishop about you, priest.
Well, nothing to worry about then. Everyone knows the only one around here who can write is me.
Enough! Men, throw them out.
Oh,
ああ、追い出された。
you looking for a fight? Henry, back me up.
やんのか、マジか。おお、バトル始まったぞ、おい。うわ、いけ、いけ、いけ、ティオ。ほっ、ティオ、ほっ、ほっ。あいててててててててて。あいて、ててててて。痛えな、お前。ふざけやがって、この野郎。うら、膝蹴りだ、膝蹴り、クリンチ、クリンチ、クリンチ。連続クリンチ。うら。おいけ。うら。うら。いけ。
Well,
まずね。
gone weak at their knees, have you?
うら。いけ。パンチ。うら。うら。しゃあ。その見やがれ。危なかった。
So, my dear,
だいぶ酔ってるよ。
like to have a
ちょ
little
っと待って。
ring on the bell?
これやばいんじゃないの？
Sooner said than done.
I'd love to. And Henry too, I'm sure. Right,
あ
Henry?
れ神父どこ行っ
Stop
た？
that nonsense, Godwin. Are you out of your mind? What will people say?
They can say what they like. What do I care? What do they do to me? Watch the step, my
あ、あれ
dears.
どこでいた？
Careful, you don't hurt yourself.
お、プライベートエリア侵入してるよ。もうやりたい
Here
放
we
題。
are. Look at this beauty.
We can't do this, can we?
Who says? Get ringing, wench.
あららららら。これ朝鳴らすやつでしょ。
This is wonderful.
Ah, bloody oath. And now, my dears, comes the climax of the evening.
Godwin, you old goat.
Come here.
おじいさんがなんかやってるっぽいぞ。 おい、じいさん元気だな、おい。
Priest has mounted up. What do you say, Henry? Shall we take a little ride of our own?
おい、すごいこと、どこだここ。大丈夫か、おい。本当にこれ神父かよ。おい、帰ろうぜ神父さん。おお、ぐるぐる回ってるだけだよ。
Well, I have to say that was a fine evening. Oh.
ヘンリーはお酒強そうですね。神父だけが戻してるんですよね。
Godwin, you beast! Get up! Do you hear me? Wake up, you drunkards!
Oh, fucking hell. Where the... Oh, what the... Oh, who the hell are you?
一体お前誰だ？どういうことだ？
Henry. My great friend, Henry. Didn't we have a wonderful time?
Well, you certainly did, you old lecher. Now you better pull yourself together quick. You haven't much time. There's some water and something to eat on the table there, but if I were you, I would move my hairy arse before my flock eats me alive.
Oh, step on in my head.
まあ二日酔いだろうな。
Oh, my guts. My poor suffering stomach. What was that woman on about? Before my flock eats me alive.
おい、司祭の仕事はいいのか？
I've
大丈夫な
forgotten
のか？
something. What have I forgotten?
Where the fuck am I?
What the fuck was it? Mass! Oh shit, I have to say mass. I gotta say mass. You have to help me.
How?
Priest? I can't do it in this state. Maybe the liturgy. But I have to give a sermon as well. Oh, this is a disaster. They're gonna excommunicate me.
I'd like to help you, but...
You can. You can do the sermon for me.
説教もできるって。
So, first I investigate a murder no one wants investigated. Then I drunkenly keep the whole town up all night. And now you want me to preach at them from the pulpit? Do you want them to burn us at the stake?
No. No, I've got it. Suppose that Sir Ratzig's protege. You just came from studying in Prague. And you want to share the words of Master Jan Hus, who you recently heard preaching there. Henry, look. From what I remember, we might have overdone it a bit last night. If
少
the
しじゃねえ
bailiff or
な。
someone else complains about me, the bishop's gonna have my guts for garters. So I'd appreciate it. Stop gaping at me like a stuffed squirrel and start helping.
You're mad. You're stark raving mad.
I'm not. It's a perfect plan. It's flawless. Oh. How about this? If you help me with this, I'll tell you who Lubosh's
おい、
cronies
誓いどうした？誓いは。どんちゃん騒ぎ、飲酒がレベルアップした。そうだよ、一句どうしたお前。
So all at once the confessional seal isn't so sacred?
Don't mock me. I won't give you a second chance.
まあ、しょうがねえな。
Well, all right. But I can't make any promises about what'll happen.
No, neither can I.
What do you want me to do exactly?
I'll go and start the liturgy. Then I'll introduce you.
説教そのまま
You
繰り返
give
す
the
か。
sermon I told you yesterday in the tavern, and that's that. No need to drag it out. If it turns out well, I'll tell you what I know about Lubosh.
Christ almighty. Fine then. We have a deal.
できるかな。とりあえず教会腐ってますっていう話だよね。酩酊状態なんだけど。左下のステータスなんかもうすげえことになってんだけど。スキルなんか上がった？いや、マイナス2だ。入れると下がってんのは注目100ってなってるけど。悪い意味の注目ですね、こりゃ。さて、この中ですね、教会は。ゴドウィン神父の代わりに説教をする。おお、大丈夫かい。
Never show up. Swill. Look at him. He can hardly walk after his capers last night.
You were with them, you beast. Just you wait. Look at him.
いつの時代も男は弱いです。
Even if now we throw up.
So I couldn't sleep a wink last night with all that clamor.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Accepit panem in sanctas at venerabiles a manus suas.
おい、大丈夫か。そのコップは違うからね。
Hac facite in meam commemorationem.
あ、昨日いい感じになった人です
Brothers
ね。
and sisters, you may have had the honor of meeting Henry from Skalitz, who is here at the behest of Sir Hanush to investigate that heinous crime at Neuha. You might not know that Henry recently visited Prague, where by the grace of God was able to hear Master Jan Hus from the esteemed Charles University preaching. I've managed to persuade Henry to stand here today in my stead and tell us what he heard. Because, as you all probably know, Jan Hus is a very popular preacher in Prague. So, Henry, you may begin.
Now I'm curious.
どっちが先に開くかな。さあ、大事ですよ、ここ。まずは堂々と行きましょう。ここはね。
Brothers and sisters, let me get straight to the point. I'd like to talk about the church and how corrupt it is. Boy has a cheek.
私たちは堕落にしてこれか。
Just as we are commanded to obey the priests in matters of virtue, so are we commanded to defy them face to face if they live contrary to God's commandments.
Hear that, Godwin?
厳しく続ける。
It is the corruption of God's pastors here on earth that has brought misfortune on our heads. Plague, cumens, hunger, and chaos. The accursed wealth that the church is drowning in is poisoning almost the whole of Christendom. When dogs are fighting over a bone, take the bone and they will stop. Just like the flock of ravens that has descended on this land to peck up every speck of gold and silver. They show no mercy. Their hearts are poisoned by covetousness. They trade everything. Everything is for sale. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay, and you will have absolution. And the prelates sin and give themselves absolution.
For shame! Shame upon them!
人は罪を犯すものであるかな。
It is the custom of the gluttonous prelates and monks to preach against sin. But what do they know of us ordinary folk? Let us remember the marriage at Cana, where our Lord Jesus Christ himself feasted with the other guests and drank his fill. And when the wine was gone, he performed a miracle and created more. He, whose companions were poor travelers, simple folk, prostitutes, and troublemakers, performed a miracle so the feast could continue.
Now that's the kind of sermon I like to hear.
No, brothers and sisters. Jesus did not condemn alcohol. Drink to lighten the cross you bear in this vale of tears, but not with such abandon that you cannot keep holy the Sabbath. For there should be moderation in all things, and it is not drinking itself that is sinful, but intemperance and beastly indulgence.
He's right.
さらに厳しく続けるぞ。行くぞ。
Enough about sin, which the prelates are so fond of preaching about, and whose absolution they promise if you only pay enough coin to Mother Church. What if the devil himself were to pay? Will the bishops tell us he too would ascend to heaven? And what about those bishops? They sin without remorse, and with the money grasped from the poor for indulgences, they keep fine horses and hordes of servants to pamper them. They play dice and garb their mistresses in expensive furs, while Christ, the Lamb of God, walked barefoot and had nowhere to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too.
Down with the prelates. Away with them.
We're fortunate to have our good Father Godwin. At least he's a fair and simple man.
結論として
I say to you in the words of Jan Hus, he who knows much, let him speak much. He who knows little, let him speak little. Let each speak as much as he knows, and he who knows nothing, let him at least teach his neighbor one virtuous deed by setting him good example and refraining from playing dice and from fornication. And that applies both to priests and to you, brothers and sisters.
That's his conclusion?
That is all I heard in Prague. Amen.
成功したか。あ、いい雰囲気でしょうかね。
The lad spoke well, considering what a soak he is.
He's right, that was.
The young man shouldn't drink so much, but the Lord's given him a
I'm
silver
glad he
tongue.
came here. I don't suppose I'll ever get to Prague, but he told it nicely.
うまくいったようですね。さあ、神父さんよ。教えてくださいよ。
Well, my boy, you have talent, and I can't deny it. And you pulled a thorn from my side. I almost didn't make it.
Yeah, I noticed. I wasn't the only one.
Oh, what's to be done? I'll make it up somehow.
So, about our bargain.
Although it's a sin.
So gluttony and fornication.
God does forgive a penitent.
So, what did Limpy Lubos tell you? Was he at Neuhof that day? Who was with him? And where are they now?
Now slow down. I'm sorry, but he didn't tell me that much.
Don't let me down after all I've been through. For you...
Well, now Lubos came to me shortly after it happened. His conscience was gnawing at him. And I must say, in the end, he turned out to be a better man than he looked. He said they'd been hired through some crony of theirs. And at first they were just to steal some horses. But then it all turned sour and people started getting killed. And neither he nor his cronies wanted anything to do with that. So they fell out from the gang and fled.
Fell out?
Yeah, there was a body found in the woods by Neuhof.
That would explain something. Lubos kept jabbering that he wasn't a murderer, that he didn't want to do it.
So I know that Lubos killed the murderer and he's dead too. The trouble is, I need to find the ones who are still alive. I need names and places. Did he mention any of the others?
Only nicknames.
Nickname.
Talked about some fella called Riki from Ledechko.
Riki, Pius,
Timmy.
Pius. That lot are about as pious as I am ordained.
Nonsense. You would make an excellent priest. And anyhow, with your skills, you ought to be able to sniff out this Riki from Ledechko, right?
Well, we'll have to now. There's not much else to go on. Let's hope he's not hanging from the wall too.
Indeed. And I'd hate to be excommunicated for nothing. Anyhow, good luck. You watch out for yourself. These people clearly mean business. And I'd like to raise a tankard with you again sometime.
Yeah, I'll try. Although I'm not sure I'd survive another night of your debauchery.
And if anyone should ask, you heard nothing from me. I'll deny everything.
I don't doubt it.
奇妙な友情が生まれました。さあ、ゲームが保存されました。で、不思議な采配のクエストが完了。この次は匂いを追えというところのクエストが発生しましたけれども、リーキーを追跡ですね。これずっと連続でやらないといけないかな。リーキーの追跡はすぐじゃなくても良さそうかな、これ見ると。ちょっとね、ここら辺をやりたいんですよね。テレサに会いに行ったりとか、あと、サイドクエストも受けたいんですよね。初めの方の街であったアクティビティをね。破滅も残ってるしね。まあ、ここはちょっとまだいけないだろうな。野営地のリーダーね。もあるし。あれタルンベルグのあれなくなっちゃったかな。あ、ありますね。武器庫の鍵を手に入れるというのもあるのでね、ちょっとここら辺もやりたいとこですよね。武器庫の鍵を手に入れるのと、最低5着の軍医を盗むと。ちょっとこういったクエストも挑戦していきたいなと思いますので、ちょっとね、今回はここまでにして、今時間どれぐらいだろうな。12時ぐらいなので、ちょっとね、アルコール用意してるし、ちょっと寝たいよね。ということで、一旦、今回はここまでにして、次回ですね、またこの続きそのままね、始めていきますので。で、そしたら、ちょっとタルンベルグに行って、やりましょうか、このクエストね。で、戻りがてら、テレサに会いに行って、ちょっとここら辺にクエスト提供者がいますので、ここら辺のサイドクエストの方をちょっと受けてみましょうか。そんな感じでやっていけたらなと思います。それでは、また次回、お楽しみに。さよなら。